Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for joining us. Today's quantum conversation is going to take us into the subconscious, and we're going to have fun as we do that. My guest today is Sophia Zoe, and she helps people with some techniques that will unlock our subconscious, maybe emotions, feelings, expressions through art. So get ready to have fun. I want to say hello, Sophia. Welcome.
Hello from Toronto. Welcome, everyone. I'm so pleased and excited to be here. This is going to be fun.
Yes, this is going to be fun. And so as we start, I just want to preface this and remind everyone joining us, grab yourself a notepad, an unlined notepad. I use unlined paper all the time to dream my new earth dream. This is a way to really download, to anchor, to record the downloads that we get. And as we're going to learn today, it's a way to learn about our doodling and what comes up when we do this. Sophia has already given us some instructions as we were prepping for this. And even just what she said, and instantly, without me even doing it, it instantly brought up some emotions. So, Sophia, before we get started, welcome. Share with us how you discovered this technique that we're going to experience today.
Through misery and agony. That's how I discovered it. I had just incurable, unbearable, debilitating insomnia for 4.5 years.
Wow.
I mean it. It would take me 3 to 7 hours to fall asleep at night, and then I'd only sleep for an hour and a half or two. I was almost going crazy. I was completely unreliable. I couldn't make any plans because if I didn't fall asleep until dawn for just a couple hours, and I was, brain dead, I couldn't drive. So at first I was canceling everything, and then I just stopped planning things. It was really, really brutal. And, if you don't sleep, you can't think, you can't perform. I stopped seeing clients, and friends and family. And also when you don't sleep, you gain weight. So I was fat, tired, and miserable. Okay. It was not a good sight, not a good scene, and I don't wish it on anyone. So of course I did research, and I tried everything known to man to help people sleep. And everything worked for 1 or 2 nights. That was it. Like just making that little change would help me a bit. And then it was back to, big eyes until dawn. And so one night, I wasn't giving up. I was trying everything. One night I read that if you do something creative that relaxes you before bed, it might relax your nervous system enough and your monkey mind so that you can sleep. And I looked over to the side table beside me, and there was a notepad and a black pen. And I thought, well, I can't draw. I'm not an artist, but what if I doodle? And I was feeling so much anxiety about, the hellhole my life was in. And so I had this stress and this, I had like this high-pitched nervous energy in me. And so I just started doing jagged, angry lines, and I filled the page, and it was actually one continuous line that went in like circles and waves and squiggles. And at the end of it, I exhaled, and I just thought, okay, I'm done. And I got into bed and I slept. I slept 2 hours, and that didn't happen. It would take me, like I said, 3 to 7 hours to fall asleep. So I thought, well, that was really cool. Let's try that again. So night by night, it wasn't a completely even beautiful line of increasing sleep hours. They had some ups and downs, but the overall pattern was an increase. So this was extremely hopeful. So then I started researching art therapy And I started incorporating it. So when I started seeing clients again, because I had a brain, I would incorporate little techniques with them, and they felt releases. To the point where I've launched an art therapy program now, and I have people join me weekly. So it's a great way to do healing. The other thing is, I've been doing energy healing since 1994. Prior to that, I was training. I actually got into energy healing when I was 15 years old. So I literally went from subscribing to Tiger Beat magazine. Remember Tiger Beat?
Yes.
I was 14. The next summer, when I was 15, I convinced my mother to get me a subscription to Psychology Today. Okay. Who does that? That was a quantum leap, right? From idols, from my, John Stamos, who I was convinced I would marry. Didn't work out, by the way. I can't manifest everything. to me, getting into Psychology Today and then learning all kinds of things. So I've been practicing medicine without a license since I was 15. So it was really just a natural progression that I would eventually, do a new healing technique. I've been trained in 25 healing methods. So I'm always learning. If I'm not learning, I just start to feel like my brain goes to soup. I just feel stupid if I'm not learning. So I'm always learning. I spend all my money on courses, conferences, seminars. I don't drink or smoke or anything like that. So, but what I wanted to say was, for the first, 2 decades of healing, I was focusing on trauma. I still do trauma clearing, but I had a lot of people coming to me with childhood abuse issues. And of course, I still help people with those traumas, because unfortunately they haven't stopped occurring. But, at some point, it just becomes so heavy and hard and serious. And I found over COVID, people were just at their mental exhaustion, like, at the highest level of their full bandwidth. And when I was reconnecting with old clients and saying, do you need any sessions? I'd say, oh, I can't even think about therapy. Oh, that seems just exhausting. Well, so I really thought I need to help people in a lighter way, a more fun way, maybe even an indirect way, so they don't think they're doing healing, but in the end, they get the benefits just as if they had. So I'm being a bit sneaky, but I'm upfront about it. It's not sneaky. It's setting an intention and then detaching from outcome, which is what, all the good books teach us, right? All our monks and meditators and gurus talk about that. You set an intention, you meditate, you release yourself from the attachment to the outcome, and you go about your day, and you let the universe bring things to you, unfold things. Subconsciously, it's all working. Your subconscious, antennas are up and broadcasting the intention that you chose. And so, you don't have to sit there and journal about your sexual abuse for decades. We can just doodle instead. Isn't that more fun?
Yes. We're going to do a little exercise with you. And as I was sharing, you said, you said, if we get cut off because of thunderstorms, that we'll have people doodle what they doodled.
Don't tell them now. Don't tell them now. I gave you something to fill in case we have a technical issue, but we, just save it in case we need it. If we don't need it, I'll bring it up.
Okay, so then let me ask you this. Fair enough, because what that did for me in an instant was like, wow. I mean, I was starting to analyze it. So let me back up here for a minute and just ask you, that doodling that you did then, would you say that was helping you release energy?
Yes.
And how did you get to the bottom of it? Did you just learn that this is a relaxation technique, or did you find something hidden in the subconscious that you had to release?
Well, there's always stuff in the subconscious. I mean, that's the thing. If you're aware of what's in your subconscious, it's conscious. It's not subconscious.
Okay.
Right. So
right.
Absorb that for a moment. Like in my NLP training, I learned, if you think you know what the problem is, that's not the problem.
Oh.
Okay. So the problem is always something hidden.
Yes.
And if you don't know what you don't know what to do about it. Like me with my insomnia, I was taking all the solutions that were offered, mainstream and alternative, and those solutions weren't right. The solution was, the subconscious stuff that gets sorted out, untangled, and healed while I'm doodling. It's magical. It's absolutely magical. So, but what I liked, I actually got into the technique of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those people, when I've done IQ tests, I always score exactly equal on language, math, and spatial dynamic perception. My scores are always equal. So I don't know if it was years of playing the piano. I've got whole brain learning. My synapses are good. I got a good scaffolding under the roof here. So even though doodling is artistic, for me it was also a technique and a puzzle to figure out. I'll tell you an example. Show you an example of what I mean. So to answer your question, I'm not avoiding it. I just, my mind goes in a few places at once.
No, sure.
So stay on the ride, folks. Okay, so yes, doing those sharp, jagged, angry lines definitely released the stress and anxiety I was feeling about having insomnia, not being able to sleep. And then as I kept doing different doodles, different shapes, patterns, figures, symbols, they're like universal archetypes, right? We all have studied some sort of archetypes. Some people are the dreamer, the motivator, the victim. There's all kinds of archetypes. So even shapes have archetypes. If I was to draw a whole bunch of X's, what does that tell you? What does the symbol of an X mean? Like if it's a whole bunch of dark black X's, is that positive and inviting? Probably not. That would be like a barrier, stop, stay away. So that would be like a symbol people understand. In the Western culture, we all understand the symbol of a heart represents love or compassion. I have not seen that symbol in any indigenous artwork, so it may not be, globally known, but culturally we have symbols that we understand. So I found things like that were coming up. So this is one of the first compilations I did. This is a very small pad, but as you can see, I just made blobs. I made little blobs, and then I challenged myself to fill in each one with a different filling. And that kind of mental focus took my mind off my insomnia. It actually kept me up late because it took a long time to do this. But once I got to bed, I slept really well. So I like to say I'm a specialist in dots and blobs. I am not an artist. If you asked me to draw a cat, I would embarrass myself. But I can come up with little creative things like that. So that was one of my little compilations that I thought, okay, we're going to do something different again. And I made a bigger one. So wherever it looks transparent, it's because I've colored it green and I'm in front of a green screen right now. So it's not cut out. It's not transparent. So each little marking, with every thought I have, a new idea pops to mind. And I just try and challenge myself to do something different. And sometimes they look cool. Sometimes they're not. They're not all winners, And this one I decided each blob would be filled in with the same color of the blob. So it's just fun. It's fun to do, and it really is a stress relief. And I think it's better than mindless TV. While I do this, sometimes I say it's a sacred thing that I'm doing, and I have no distraction, no music on, nothing. And I just, that's when I'm doing it strategically with intention to find a solution to a problem. So it's like not even music. I don't want anything, polluting me.
Wow.
Yeah. But other times, like if I'm actually doing it as a piece of art and I want to finish it, I'll listen to audiobooks or podcasts as I do it. So it depends on the intention.
Well, it's beautiful. There's comments coming in on our Zoom chat about how creative and beautiful they are. And
Thank you.
You know, and you say you're not an artist, but maybe we all have that artist within us.
But, yeah, what I mean is I'm not, I'm not going to do fine art portraiture. You would look demented if I tried to do your face. So I can't. Whatever I can see, I cannot make it translate out my hand onto paper. That is my sticking point. Maybe I can do EFT for that. But when it's completely a subconscious thing, I can create something pretty. Yeah.
Okay. Some of the artists like Pollock and is it Pollock and they didn't do that either, but look how popular they were. So
well, if anybody wants to give me $1 million for a doodle, we can set up that transaction.
So when you were in your own experience and beginning this doodling and beginning this coloring, did you reveal any of your subconscious things come up? Like did things come up for you that you became aware of, or did you just feel more relaxed?
Both. No, but not just more relaxed. So I'll tell you, when I doodle, okay, I'm going to show you something. Sometimes things come out subconsciously that I had no clue I was even drawing. I'm just looking for the right page. I've now done about 175 pages of doodling. And so I'm forgetting which book it was in.
That could be a book. Yeah, that could be a book like healing. Would you think that this is healing art? I'd like people, because it feels very healing. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's definitely healing art. And so what I do is, I'll draw something in a certain way. Like for instance, this one, I just did with a black marker, I did squiggles and loops. And then I decided to use stripes. This is the only time I've used stripes, I think. So, it was just kind of goofy. But then I turned it this way. And I thought, oh my God, it looks like a lady's head and a horse's butt. So I call it Lady Horse. Doesn't that look like a hoof? I can't get this left.
Yeah, a lady in agony.
No, even this way, it looks like one of those optical illusions. That's the profile of the lady, and that's her neck. Oh, yeah. And this is like a hair clip. So I had not planned to do that. In fact, I'll tell you, if I plan to do something and I try, it looks so juvenile. I look like a 3-year-old doing it. It's embarrassing. But when I just put the marker on the paper and let it do its thing, like I need a solution to whatever, this relationship with my sister. And then I doodle it out, and then I'll find, I can analyze it after and say, oh, here I need softness. Here I need forgiveness. Here I need avoidance. Just by what comes out. Yeah, it can be analyzed, and it's helpful that way. Okay, so here's one where I drew it like this. Again, more loops. And then I just started filling it in with these shapes. The green jelly beans were the first thing I did. And I did swirls and little hearts and flowers. Okay, so it was just whatever. Kind of looks like the number 3. But then I flipped it over. And I thought, oh my God, it's a Renaissance man screaming. Do you see that? You remember how they wore the white wigs? So that looks like a wig, the eye, the nose, the tongue. So I call it Renaissance man screaming. I would not have ever thought to draw that, but that's what I see it. So this is my goofiest one. Anyway, if anyone else sees it, let me know. Some people don't see it, but it's
you could take these and put them in coffee shops with a little price tag on them, and people would buy this. They would.
Oh, thank you. I'm planning on joining a show or something and exhibit and selling them. Yeah. But they really, really have changed my life. Doodling has changed my life. Who would have thunk? After all those serious, heavy healing courses, after years and years of mentorship, doodling did it. So
Wow.
not to say the other things, the other things I learned didn't work. But this has brought me a lot of fun and joy, and now I crave it. I need to make time to doodle every day. And so I've got, my niece involved as well, and she's a really great artist. She can do faces. She does anime. She's 10. And so in terms of, to get back to when I said I got into the technique of it, I had liquid ink markers. The brand is called Pilot. And I loved the way the ink spilled onto the paper. I loved the way it was being absorbed. And so I would make thicker and thicker lines. So, as you saw, I often highlight the edges, like I make them thicker, because that's interesting to me, like right there. I like it looking like a brush stroke. I know that's just my thing. And so that was highly, and I'm meticulous. I want it to be neat. I don't want it, if I make my own lines, I'm going to color them in properly. And so that meticulousness, that attention to detail, of course, released me from whatever was trapped in my mind. The monkey mind totally settled. And then it's so satisfying. It's quickly satisfying. Each of my doodles take me between 8 and 22 hours to complete. So it's not always, sit down and do it all in one go, but I can finish a section and then feel satisfied that looks good. I did it to the best of my ability, and I like the colors and whatever. And then I can go to sleep happy. I feel accomplished. So
Wow.
if your life,
You're really present.
yes, that's it. It's mindfulness, it's presence.
It's presence.
Yeah. And it's forgetting your problems for a few minutes, a few hours. So I was just going to say, if someone is very stressed about their life circumstance, if you can't cope, you don't know where to start, you're so overwhelmed, just clear a space, the end of the table or an armchair with a laptop desk or something, and just focus on the paper. Have some colors that you love. So I've got all kinds of different pens and markers. I've got buckets and buckets of them. So, because each one does different textures and level of vibrancy and whatever. So use what inspires you. Go to the art stores now that, back to school sales are going to start, and stock up on good markers. And I would say get some good paper too. It makes a big difference when you're using markers to draw on marker paper. Because if you draw on soft paper, it'll get absorbed and it'll bleed. So you have to experiment with that. So buy the best quality paper you can afford, and then just focus. Say for half an hour, I'm going to doodle. And if you have one issue you want to address, just say, okay, subconscious mind, give me an answer to my problem with whatever, and then just don't even think about it again and start drawing. And you may not be the one who can analyze it, but maybe a friend or family member who knows you in the situation will say, oh my gosh, that's you and that guy. And you think, I didn't draw me and that guy. Oh yeah, I did, and then it'll say, you need distance. You need to put that distance between you, or you need to bridge the gap and come closer. So you'll find your answer. You definitely will find your answer. And worst case scenario, you don't find your answer, but you just feel better. So if you release stress, because, all suffering basically is our perception. All suffering is people not meeting our expectations, and often our untold, unverbalized expectations. Mm. So if we can get away from that, then we'll feel better. And your body can only heal itself when you're in a state of relaxation. Being stressed, tense, and tired is not going to do anything good for you. So relax, relax, relax. That's what you need to do.
The images that you were sharing are beautiful. And you've said that it helped you bring into awareness things that you weren't so aware of, the subconscious. Now, can you, there's a question here from Sharina, thank you. Does your technique clear any subconscious blocks? And so you said it did. Do you have examples of the doodling that you've done, like the screaming Renaissance man? Did that reveal anything to you? Like, what did you learn? What was in your subconscious that became conscious from any of these doodles? Do you want to share any of those? Any examples?
Well, because I'd been, as I said, in agony and misery, it reminded me that I need to get back to art. I have a music degree and a drama degree. I'm an actor and a performer. I taught piano for 30 years. I graduated from the Second City Training Center. Second City is the famous improv school in Toronto, Chicago, New York, Miami, and LA. Anyway, so that reminded me that I have humor, unexpressed humor. So it allowed me to keep going and to feel okay, like, so if I do watch a comedy, I don't feel like I'm wasting time. It's part of who I am. I enjoy funny things, and it's okay. I'm not, I'm not a Rembrandt or a Monet, and that's okay. My doodles still have value because people enjoy them. And some people have, gotten a kick out of that one, especially. So, and when I started, like I said, I started with filling in with the green jelly beans. And I thought, oh my God, this is so simplistic. I'm really not an artist, but I kept going. And then I was like, oh, that gap isn't equal now. I better put in another thing there. Oh, now that there's too big a gap there. So I'm a bit, OCD about having things well spaced, even though there's no planning involved. So I try and fill it in a pleasing way. And one thing I've learned is the ones, with every doodle, like all 175 of them, there's always a point where I think, this sucks. This is awful. Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. I should just rip it out and crumple it up right away. Yeah. Always, without fail, I think that every time. But then I challenge myself to keep going. Add another element, maybe a texture, a line, a new color. And always I make a mistake. And, when you're using markers and pens, there's no erasing it. You can't paint over it. So I have to incorporate my mistake because I usually can't hide it. And that challenge becomes a mental challenge. That's when I'm, spinning it, looking at, and every time my biggest mistakes have created my favorite pieces.
Let's take a look at another one. And as you're explaining that, because I think that's key with anything, whether it's writing, singing, toning, painting, there's a part, is it our ego mind that comes in to judge ourselves, that says, who cares about this? What, this is ugly or whatever, right? So
ego mind and social conditioning. What messages did you get from your parents? I can tell you my messages are all negative. And to really exemplify that, I was the last graduating class where we had grade 13 in Ontario. Now everybody just has grade 12. So anyway, I came home and I told my mother that in my grade 13 Canadian literature exam, so like an English class, I said, Mom, I got 99% on my English exam. And she said, how could you be so stupid to lose 1 mark?
Oh boy, that goes deep.
It's funny, but she meant it. How could I be so stupid to lose 1 mark? Okay, so yeah, the self-criticism stems from things like that. I'm sure everybody has a similar situation. And, as I say, hurt people. So maybe that, she didn't get positive affirmations 24 hours a day. The teachers who criticized my sister for not being as smart as me, they should know better. They're professionals. But they did. They'd say, Sophia did so well in this unit. Why are you failing? So that's very damaging. We have to be careful what we say out loud. We really do. So
So
Yeah, the conditioning.
we just want to look at your images
Oh,
because
okay. All right. It's showing to, oh, sorry, this one's mostly green, but this is one where my pen slipped and then I just kept adding more circles because my pen slipped again and I did more and more circles. Oh, gosh. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you my ugly green screen behind me. Hold on, so that you can see all my green stuff. So no background. There we go. My green screen's behind me. Because you need a green screen when you have a virtual background, otherwise it doesn't look good, right? Okay, so it's mostly greens. That's how it started. And although it was kind of cool, it looked kind of weak until I added black lines around every circle. So with a thin black micron pen, if I go closer, so you see I've got black circles everywhere. And
but I just have to say, and I have you pinned. I hope that when I talk, I don't come on because I want your image to be up. I would say that is sellable. I want our Zoom audience to chat with us and say, would you buy this? I would buy it.
Would you buy this? My 10-year-old niece said she would pay $37 for it.
There you go.
I said, this took me 22 hours.
And that's when you copy it. You make copies of it. It doesn't have to be original, does it? It could be on note cards. It could be on you could make your own little artist kit. You could get a book. You could be the cover of a notepad. And
yes, surface design. I am looking into that.
See, that's
so this one also took forever, but I like it in the end.
So now, when you were experiencing this, what came up for you? At what point did you not like what you saw?
Oh, at this one, pretty much in the beginning. And so I decided to thicken some of the squiggles. So you see, I make it look like shadows or brush strokes. And at the end, still, it just didn't pop until I traced each of those like pale peach balls. I traced them in, I think, green. Yes, in a green, very thin green pen. And then I added all those dots. Dots take a lot longer than you think, especially when you do that many. And then I did the green scribble in behind everything. It's a lot of layers of different elements. That's what I've learned. Just keep adding more stuff. And then it really came alive actually when I did the plain green balls in the circles in different sizes, you know. So lots of little green dots. Each element made it pop more and more. So don't be afraid to keep adding. And this one, I remember this one, I felt so bad about this. It just did not turn out right. The colors didn't seem to harmonize. I guess that's the word. And then I took my metallic marker and added the dots, so it looks kind of like a quilt. And that wasn't enough. So then in some of them, I made these tight squiggles. And now I like it. I call it Quilted Cloud. So you can do all kinds of things. I'll show you one that was really emotional.
Love it, Sophia. There's a comment I want to share in our Zoom chat that you tell this to hospitals because patients would look at them. It's healing. It's
thank you.
They're almost like mandalas. They're different than mandalas, but they're very fun to look at.
Okay, so I had a very good friend lie to me, and I didn't think I thought we had a much better relationship. And it really broke my heart. And I was so upset. And I picked one of my favorite colors, which is like a raspberry pink. And I just, like with a fist, like a toddler, I just started scribbling on the paper. And then I thought, I had a good cry. And then I thought, oh, well, look at that part of the squiggle. That's a kind of cool line. So I started again highlighting it. And I did more and more highlights, and I ended up with this, and I really love it. So I call this heartstring entanglements. And it was very healing, really, really healing. And after I had highlighted the scribbles that I liked, then I went back and I filled in with more scribbles just to make it tighter, filled in. And there you go. That was just scribbling to heal my broken heart.
Love it. I love it. It's beautiful to heal your broken heart. That is beautiful.
Yeah. And, you know, from something ugly came something pretty. So, I'm sorry, I just saw one comment, Darlene, saying it's gorgeous. Thank you. I'm not really watching the comments because I'm watching Lauren. So there's a lot you can do if you're feeling, you know, disconnected from your life and things aren't flowing and in harmony. Well, I did this. You can do sort of something that looks like shattered glass. That will heal that. Okay, so that was not a good moment, but then I focused on making the art, and it turned into a much better feeling day. You know? So I tried something, you know, when they say feel the fear and do it anyway. Well, I did that, and so I call this one Into the Fire. So you see what I mean when I say I specialize in blobs and dots. There are no dots here, but there's certainly blobs. Loops and hoops, squiggles.
Love it.
It's yeah, I have to photograph them. It's very, very difficult to photograph them well enough to make copies. I took lessons from a photographer friend. It's literally back-breaking work. So I haven't photographed everything. I've only done a few. This one also came out of terrible mistakes. I call it Magical Pond. But my swirls went awry, and then I had to keep fixing them. And as I fixed my mistakes, I liked it more and more. So that's Magical Pond.
And I love because it looks like a reflection on each of those bubbles, each of the dots, not dots, you know, with the reflections. Beautiful and beautiful. Just love it.
Thank you. Thank you. So another one I didn't like at first, not at all. But then I kept adding more stuff. Like if you can see, my camera autofocuses. You can see I've got really tiny dots and tight squiggles. And all of this border was an attempt to hide a smear or somewhere where my pen went off kilter. So I like that too. Anyway, I'm enjoying it a lot. And then, in terms of, finding something subconsciously. So I drew this one. It was just, it was nothing. And then I flipped it over and I was like, oh my God, it's a face. So I call this the performer. It reminds me of like a vaudeville performer. Something kind of over the top. Do you see it? Two eyes.
I love it. And the big blue lips, lips mixed with the nose.
Who's got blue lips? Well, this performer does. Yeah.
It's very artistic. Okay. So, all right. You know how sound healing, for example, I make plant music from the plants. And when we make the plant music, we hold the intention. And one time I was dealing with betrayal. And so what did I go to? I went to the plant music and it instantly healed me. And so I created a song called Betrayal. Do you think you could name these things? Because the intention is carried on the artwork that you've drawn.
Yes.
And that's what makes it healing artwork.
Yeah.
So like healing a wounded heart. You could title it that. Do you title it that? And because
sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. That was my intention at first, but then I just wanted to have fun. So I didn't want to put that limitation on. Okay. I just wanted to be more free.
Yes.
So that whatever wanted to emerge, emerged. One of the tips I have is don't be afraid to use black. And I'll give you an example of that. During my weekly art club with my group, the theme was green. And so I decided to draw leaves. And when I drew them, they just looked blah until I did nice thick borders around them. And then they came alive. So I've got different shades of green and different fillers. in each leaf. So this is the thing. You don't have to be realistic. You can be fantastical. You don't have to make green leaves. Like some of them are sort of an aqua blue. You don't have to make, a brown tree trunk. It can be purple because in your world or in another world, it can be whatever. So don't constrain yourself to this looks like a pond, so the water should be blue. Water isn't blue anyway. It's clear, So just be totally free. Yeah, that's what I have to say. Okay, so there was a question there, but I didn't have time to read it.
I just think that your art is artistic, and it's funny that you're taking this stance as I'm not an artist, but yet this is what's beautiful for all of us, because just
okay,
right.
I'm artistic. I'm creative, I guess, but mostly I was an insomniac.
And maybe a little bit of a perfectionist from your mama.
Yes, that's true too.
So you stuck in, well, okay, let's call it tenaciousness.
Mm-hmm.
You stuck with it. And then
it's either I figure out a cure for my insomnia or I die. Literally, I was going insane. So I had to do, it took 4.5 years. I'm not a genius. I didn't figure it out right away.
What a gift. That's
tenaciousness. Yeah.
A gift from your soul. It's a soul gift coming forward. I'm sensing that it was almost as if your soul, your higher self was like, you got this, figure it out. And
figure it out. Yeah, I did.
You have a comment that this should be sold to cities and hung in their museums.
Oh, do you have the keys to a city? I'm looking. Why not sleeping pills? Did you try them? No, I did not take sleeping pills because I know my body. I do not respond well to any established narcotics. Doesn't matter how safe they are because they've been on the market for 90 years. I always respond very negatively. And I also, to be honest, I have an addictive personality. I've never done any substance abuse. The only thing I was addicted to was milk chocolate with hazelnuts. That was many years of that, and I'm not kidding about it. But even in terms of like when I was watching a lot more TV, I would only allow myself 2 1-hour TV shows a week. Otherwise, I could watch all the dramas, So I know that about myself. Yeah, the only thing that I did take after much research and realizing it wasn't a drug was melatonin. But I quickly would become immune to the dosage. So your own brain, your own brain produces 0.628 milligrams of melatonin to help you sleep when it's time. Well, I got up to needing 15 milligrams of melatonin a night to get me to sleep. So that's way too much. and I was like, no, this has to stop. What am I going to do? Take the whole bottle every night? But by then it is substance abuse. So I had to stop that and find a new way.
Yeah. And you did, and it's totally natural. And so you found yourself in the doodling.
I'd rather be addicted to doodling than melatonin or sleeping pills. Yeah.
The beauty that you're adding. Again, there's so many comments coming in. Children's hospitals would love this. There's so many applications for this. So, hotels often, when there's a new hotel comes up, they want to commission artwork, right?
Yes.
So, wow. And I just think coffee shops, how many coffee shops have art hung up with a little for sale?
Yes. I haven't gotten into yet. I do want to do all this. I don't know how to start. So I'm kind of overwhelmed. If anyone wants to help me, if I'm just
email Sophia if you want to help her.
Yeah, my email's there under my face in the Zoom box. But I'd like to take callers or participants and see if they have a problem and if I can suggest a doodle for them to do to help heal, to kickstart the healing.
That would
who has an issue?
Who has an issue? Well, Sharina has a question. All right, Dar, there you are, Dar. Raise your hand in the Zoom box if you would like an issue to doodle. Dar, you can unmute yourself. Hello.
Hi, Dar.
Hi, Sophia. Hello there,
Hello.
Lauren.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Um, my thing is that I have so much chronic fatigue and so much chronic pain that
Mm,
the way I deal with it is to sleep. So I'm getting like a regular night's sleep and then sometimes 2 or even 3 different 1 hour sleeps throughout the day, or
okay.
even 1 3 hour sleep. So I'm trying to not, I'm trying to change that.
Okay. So I know what you need to do. Well, it's a suggestion. You don't need to do anything I say, but
Okay.
what helps for chronic pain, any chronic illness for everyone listening, any chronic pain and illness is to draw a representation of your pain or illness. So that might be like a ball of tangled nerves or a big, I don't know, big angry pain element. Just draw that and then draw flowing lines coming away from it to represent the pain changing, transitioning. Okay, so do that. And at the end of the flow, you can have something as simple as a happy face, but something to represent you and how you feel after. So there's the before pain, the transition, and the after. Use your favorite colors. Make that flow. You want your transition to be smooth and as uneventful as possible. Meaning you don't want a healing crisis, right? So you just want it to be gentle and flowing. So you might want to use pastel colors or calming blues and greens, and then your happy picture at the end. Can you do that?
I can do that. Favorite color is not a problem because my favorite color is rainbow.
Okay. Okay. So you do that. Let me know how it works for you. And you might, when I say doodling healed me, like I said, it wasn't all at once overnight. So
No.
do this every day, Dar. Do it every day and make it different every time. And then post your pictures, put them up on a wall so that you get the subconscious message. So I put one in the bathroom beside on the mirror. I have post-it notes of affirmations inside my cupboards, in the kitchen. So every time I go and get a snack or something, I see the affirmation like I love healthy food. Okay, so it or in this case you can say I am gently healing. I am gently healing. I am comfortable in my body. So
Yes.
use your own imagination and come up with affirmations that support where you want to be. So you don't focus on where you are, but you acknowledge it. That's what's important. You don't want to go against yourself. You don't want to negate. So you don't want to say, "Oh my God, I have lupus," for instance. I have lupus, but I'm strong and healthy. I have lupus, but I'm strong and healthy. Your mind is going to reject that. Okay, so what you do is you say, "Okay, I acknowledge that I have pain. Thank you, body, for giving me this message of pain. I hear you. And now I'm ready to release it. I let it go with a gentle flow," and do your drawing. And then have an affirmation from the end for the end. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, very cool. I love it. I really do. We have a question in our chat box. Renee asks, how to lose weight and keep it off? Find me a doodle, please.
Well, I've recently lost 35 pounds. So, and that's, so I'm down 85 from my heaviest.
Down 85. That's a whole new person.
I know.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Like I did the first 50 and then I took a very long break. And then there was COVID and insomnia, then COVID. So since the beginning of April, I've lost 35 pounds. And you know what? Part of it is inspired by the doodling.
Yeah.
Because I want to promote art therapy as something fun and cool. And I thought, you know what? I feel fat. I don't feel fun and cool. I want to transform how I look so that I can wear cool clothes and not be thinking about hiding my gut. And so the doodling inspired my commitment to sticking to my intermittent fasting and healthy eating. So doodle your fat away. There's a program I should sell.
Yeah, no, seriously. And we've got another question here from Sharina. Do you have, can you find any, I know you've got 175 of them, but can you show us an example of the art that you create, the doodle that you created for the weight loss?
No, it isn't one. It's the whole process.
The whole process. Oh,
It's the whole process of becoming mindful, reducing stress. So here's the thing, when you're stressed, whether you're ill or you have stress at work or family, when you are in a state of stress, your cortisol levels are very high. Cortisol is known as the death hormone. Now, you need to have cortisol in the morning to get you going, but if it's still high at night, this is why I wasn't sleeping. I figured that out because, my MD couldn't. So high cortisol keeps you up. And when you do something relaxing, it brings down the cortisol levels. And if your cortisol is high, you will gain weight. You will not lose weight. Because if you have stress, the body, going back to the reptilian mind, it thinks, oh my God, nothing's going right. Okay, so the last thing we need is starvation. So at least I can control that. So let me hold on to every calorie I eat so that I'll never starve. At least I'll feel secure about that. And that's why you gain and you don't lose. But if you take away the stress, and I need to say a lot of stress is clutter, and too many of us have too much clutter. So if your house is cluttered, your cells, your body is cluttered with toxins, right? It's all a big holistic thing. You need to clean your house, clean your body, and then everything will work. Your body knows how to heal itself. I'll admit here publicly, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And I got to the point, like with all that insomnia and, things not working, I was put on insulin. And the first 2 weeks were hell because it was so wonky. I would take a shot of insulin and my sugar would drop too low. And then, so then I couldn't drive. And it was so bad. And the last thing the endocrinologist said before I left her office was, oh, and of course, now that you're on insulin, you're going to gain a lot of weight. That's what happens. I thought, oh, no, I just lost the 50 pounds. And so, anyway, so I was on insulin for 3 weeks and I gained, in 3 weeks, I gained 10 pounds. I thought, no, enough, just stop. And I just took myself off all the drugs because there were a few others she gave me too. And I did a 6-day fast.
wow.
6 days of water and herbal tea. And I had some powdered herbs that I take for fasting support, but it was a really good detox. And then I did 6 days, and then I had to go to a baptism with a sit-down dinner after. And I thought, well, I haven't had any sugar in me for 6 days. It's okay if I have half a dessert. Well, I had the whole thing. And as soon as I got home, I tested my blood sugar. And guess what? It was only 9. And after having had a full meal, and I even had hors d'oeuvres, including pita bread and hummus, I had bread and I had the dessert. And my blood sugar was only, Canadian measurements are different than American measurements.
Okay.
It was, so after you have a meal, it's okay for your blood sugar to go up to 10. And then, but normally it should be 7.8 or under. So it only got up to 9 when I had bread and sugar. And I thought, oh my God, I never had diabetes. I just had too many toxins in me and some bad eating habits. I used to eat a lot of sugar, like the chocolate with hazelnuts, as I was saying. And that's and I remember hearing another doctor say, diabetes isn't a disease. It is a perfectly normal response to what you're putting in your body. And they name it diabetes. It's like, oh my God. So, and now I do intermittent fasting and I allow myself dessert once in a while and I'll check my sugar and it's normal. And I haven't had any insulin. So I have a follow-up with my endocrinologist who, when I said to her, when she wanted to put me on insulin, I said, I'd really rather find a natural, holistic way to do this. And she said, you're way beyond that. You're way beyond anything natural. Nothing's going to work. So I would just like to go back and give her
Bring your book of doodle and tell her that this is how you healed and you will make an impact. Maybe she'll be like, oh, that's a bunch of BS. But your reality, it's your experience, which is your truth.
Yes.
So,
And I did it my way without gaining weight. In fact, I've lost weight. And so
ask,
just,
yeah. And then maybe don't go back to her, but maybe you will help
I
her.
won't need her. I won't need her, but I just want to go and I want to do my blood work and have her see it. So when I go for a new blood work in a couple of weeks, I can't wait to see the numbers. I'm sure they'll be all normal. But I just want to put that out there. You know, I'm not a medical doctor. Please do not go off your insulin. This is not what I'm saying. Do your research and get proper care. But I'm just saying that I took matters into my own hand, knowing, I knew what supports I had, like the herbs I'm taking, and I've done a lot of fasting in the past. I didn't go from 0 to 6 days of not eating without, a long practice period. So don't do anything dangerous. Having said that, fasting is the fastest way to heal anything. This I now know is true. So declutter your body from toxins. This is part of the whole thing, which declutters your mind. That's the other thing with the doodling and the sleeping, not sleeping. The reason you go crazy and you can't think is because the lymphatic system of your brain, which is separate from the lymphatic system from the neck down, the lymphatic system of the brain doesn't detox until the 7th hour of sleep. So if you're only sleeping, 6.5 hours, you're not detoxing your brain. So that's why you get brain fog and forgetfulness, and you just can't think, you can't make a decision. So please, please, please get 8 hours a night, preferably, in a row. It will help everything. It really will. Okay. Let's move on to the next contestant.
Hi, Mo. You can unmute yourself now and share your question. Hi.
I'm Mo.
Hello. Hi. Thank you. If I can get help with getting unstuck, so I feel like everything. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any particular thing you're stuck in? What's
Yeah.
the worst one? What's the worst?
I'm stuck in my mind. And every time I try to calm myself or to change my perspective on don't be reactionary, it's hard because my mind gives me so many reasons to be like I don't want to be. So I'm the prisoner of my mind.
Okay. And what is the result of being the prisoner of your mind?
Being unhappy overall.
Okay.
I feel that I don't have the access to that unconscious that you mentioned. And that's kind of 80% or more ruling my life. And it's you work with a conscience, but it's useless because it's so tiny and the subconscious is always winning.
Yes. Okay. Do you exercise?
Sometimes.
Okay. So your subconscious is your entire body. Candace Pert wrote a book on that called Your Subconscious is Your Body. Every cell in your body contains every memory, every experience that you've ever had from this lifetime, past lifetimes, and the lives of your ancestors. So if you're stuck in your mind, it's telling me the energy in your body is stuck. So I need you to move. You need to go for brisk walks, not a slow meandering saunter. You need to walk like a power walk, like move your arms, like pump your arms. Look online for dance classes, not like ballet or something, but like dance exercise classes, like body move, body groove, and figure eights and all that stuff, Taebo and whatever. Find some classes online to do. Yeah. And if you can, if you have the money for a gym, go to a gym and take group classes. Group classes are great because it doesn't let you get lazy. Like if I do a yoga DVD at home, I take my time between poses. But if I'm in a class and the teacher says, okay, now warrior 2, you got to get up and move. Otherwise you look like an idiot in front of everybody else, right? So the class will motivate you. You need to move. Also, when you exercise, it becomes a mindfulness and presence thing. So when you're focusing on your moves, on your postures, it takes away the thinking. The other thing I want to say is advice I read somewhere: don't believe your own thoughts. A thought is just a thing, but it's not the truth necessarily. Right? Just because you had that thought doesn't mean it's true. You can just say, oh, okay, that was a weird thought. Bye-bye. I suspect you're also highly empathic, which means I think all the thoughts of everybody else in the ether, you are a sponge for. So you are suffering because of that. Being an empath is nothing to be proud of. Let me tell you, people, it is torture. It's, occasionally it's a blessing, but it's usually not. Being an empath means you're taking on way more than your nervous system can handle. There's only so much you can naturally process in a day. So before you go to the gym, to the grocery store, to the bank, on your walk, you need to do protection. So protection meaning, imagine you're a tree, just see yourself as a tree in a park, and the sun's rays are coming in through your fingertips, which are the leaves in the tree, and the sun's rays come down your trunk and they go into your roots and beyond the roots. So you're about 5 miles down beyond the crust of the earth. Okay, so really connect to the earth. And then imagine there's the magnetic energy of the earth comes up as a cloud of white light and it surrounds you. So you're in this beautiful cocoon of white light, and make the light very bright and thick, kind of like foam, like high density foam. It's a cushiony white light. And that light goes out 25 feet in every direction. So you're in this sphere of protection. Okay. And what I want you to do around that sphere of protection, you could also use another color light, whatever comes to mind. Like I might use apricot or blue or green or silver or gold, whatever you think. Every day might be different. And then put mirrors facing out, like how mirrors can come in tiles. So just a bunch of tile mirrors facing out, so that anything that's other people's thoughts will be reflected away, deflected away, so that it does not penetrate into your sphere. You need to keep your energy, your field clear, and that will clear your body and your mind. Well, you've got to move the energy to clear out your body, but to clear your mind, you need to not allow other people's influence to penetrate. That will take practice. So when I was first learning healing, and our instructor had us do this, I anchored the protection to every time I put on my shoes. I don't wear shoes in the house. We don't do that in Canada. So anytime I needed to leave the house, I'd have to put on my shoes or my boots. So I would think, oh, boots, protection. So I would take a minute and do the protection. And then when I was, working in a wellness center, I wasn't going in and out, but I needed to remind myself to protect myself between clients. So I would go wash my hands. So every time as I was washing my hands, I would mentally do the protection. So give yourself anchors like that. Anchors meaning reminders. So when you put soap on your hand, it reminds you you're also going to cleanse your aura. Okay. When you put your shoes on, it reminds you to do the grounding and protection. Got it?
Yes, thank you. Amazing. You are spot on. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. It all comes from experience. I've been ungrounded and unfocused and all that stuff too.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mo. All right, here is a good question. This is from Sharina. What can someone do or draw when it comes to anything with financial wealth or prosperity?
Okay. Can she come online to speak to?
Sharina, I'm going to allow you to unmute yourself. There's 2 of you here, so
Two Sharinas? Oh.
So Sharina, I'm going to just allow both of you, both of you to talk. Sharina.
Oh, she's probably has 2 devices.
Let's go ahead and unmute yourself, Sharina.
Hey, yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Lauren, how are you?
Hi.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. Tell me your question again and be specific.
So when it comes to blocks with wealth, money, and abundance, instead of going to your reactive mind and getting angry and agitated about it, what would be some kind of art, like a drawing or something that could
Okay.
actually.
Got it. Okay, so what words do you use? How do you say that to yourself? When you look at your bank balance, what do you think?
Disgusting.
Really?
Especially, yeah, well, especially when you work in a financial industry, it's like, well, how can my experience be this?
Okay, what else do you say to yourself when you think about your finances? I want your inner dialogue.
It's not enough.
It's not enough. Okay, anything else?
It's out of control. How can somebody?
Okay,
put
say it as an
themselves
I
in
am statement. I am.
I am angry.
What else? Regarding your finances, I am. How do you describe yourself?
Frustrated.
Okay, you're not following me. Do you say I am broke? I am poor? What do you say?
Yeah, sometimes I would say I am broke.
That doesn't sound very convincing. Okay. So I think the one that was strongest is I don't have enough. Or it's not enough, right? That's what you said?
Yeah.
It's not enough. Okay. So what's the opposite of not having enough?
More than plenty, more than enough.
Having plenty.
More having, yeah.
More than plenty doesn't make sense. It's redundant. So, okay. So instead of it's not enough, you can say I have plenty and then draw pictures of many little things. Okay. So you can draw a garden with many blossoms. You can draw a lot of mosquitoes in your backyard. Whatever. Draw something that's pleasant. Your favorite food, like if you love rice, draw a bowl of rice and draw every grain and think this represents a $100 bill. So draw something that you have plenty of, you have access to plenty of. Blades of grass. Draw a picture of a field, and each blade of grass is like, that's another $1,000 in my bank account, another $1,000. So every green stroke of grass is another $1,000. And just say, I love and accept all this abundance, all this plenty in my life. And when you see your bank statement, until this happens, when you look at your balance or your wallet, you have to say, even if you have one penny, you say, galore, galore. I have all that I need and so much more. Write that down and memorize it. Galore, galore. I have all that I need and so much more. Anyone can say that. Okay, so the subconscious mind likes images. I mean, you could write the word money, 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 but nah, it's not going to really work. I don't think it's going to work at all. But if you draw something that is plentiful, like grass or rice or wildflowers, the mind gets that. And especially if you say it consciously to link it. Every little wildflower, every little petal on every daisy that I draw represents another $100 bill. I have plenty. And as you go through your house, do you have clutter in your house?
Sure. Not really. I just cleared it out.
That's fine. That's great. But you know what? As you're putting away your dishes, you wash the dishes and you're putting them back in the cupboard. You think, oh my gosh, I have 8 dinner plates. That's amazing. I have so much. And oh my gosh, look at all the spoons I have. I have plenty. So make a point of noticing where you have plenty. Okay.
Okay, so here's a question. I just created like 200 creative arts lately, and is that something that I'm using my energy towards?
What did you create?
Like creative art walls.
creative art walls? What are you talking
Yeah, like
about?
selling online, Shopify, Amazon.
So you're selling your art. You're selling your pictures, or okay.
Yes.
And so that's amazing. What is the question?
That's what I started doing when you were talking about all these arts. It's
Uh-huh.
like I just started doing that lately.
Okay. Well, very good.
So
So I'm sure it'll help. It will help if you're selling it.
Yeah. So I just wanted to know if they're both tied together, right? Like, is that like
Of
a
course it
healing
is.
or
It's your
something?
life. It's your life, and you created it. So of course it's tied together. Anything that comes out of you is about you and for you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sophie.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Uh,
Christina. Thank you.
Do we have another question?
Yeah, let's see, Sharina, you can unmute yourself again. Did you have another question? Insomnia, or are you good?
I think I'm good, and I'm gonna really use what Sophie is teaching us today. I'll use the way she's teaching us to like really put it on the art and on the paper.
Beautiful.
Very good. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Sharina. All right, this is awesome. Thank you for that. And it's just such a beautiful reminder of the intention that we can put into the artwork for healing, tremendous healing. And what I love is that you teach this. So when people have questions, you will give them answers that they can use, or doodles that they can draw to assist, facilitate in this process. You've got a couple of webinars coming up, and this is where people can bring their materials and learn from you. This is a special offer. I'm going to put the link in our Zoom chat and in the description box wherever people are watching or listening to this. But tell us about these workshops, because these seem really fun and powerful.
Oh yes. Let me go to my own offer page so I say the right thing. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 classes. The first one is release and relax through doodling. I get you to do drawings, doodles, but we do what I call body doodles. So we'll actually incorporate some movement as well to help relieve stress and stuckness and anxiety and pain, because that's really important. People need to, feel good to take action. And doing art is a way to feel good. Relaxing, as I mentioned, is the only way to kickstart healing. So whatever needs healing, physically or even mentally and emotionally, you need to be relaxed first. And a lot of us think we know how to relax. Oh, take a few deep breaths. But nobody does it long enough for it to really take hold. And this is why getting into a drawing, a doodle, gives you that time. And this is why I say, don't throw it away if you make a mistake. Just stick with it, keep adding, and it will help you to relax deeper and deeper. So it's being mindful on one topic, and it lets go of all the other things you were thinking about. Okay, so it releases the monkey mind and the anxiety, stress, and all that. So I'm going to do a group class for whoever buys this special offer. And the first one is Saturday, July 22nd, 8 a.m. Pacific. Class number 2 is called Doodling Exercises for Increasing Intuition. So once you are relaxed and de-stressed, then you have access to your intuition. And your intuition is where you'll get all your answers. Like I said, my intuition told me not to take the insulin and all the drugs. I mean, I tried it to be compliant, but then I got the strong message, just stop it. So you need to be able to trust yourself. And if you're full of toxins, you absolutely don't have access to your intuition. If you're tired, if you're stressed, you do not have access to your intuition. What you think is your intuition is actually the toxins speaking. Or if you're an empath, it's other people's influence speaking. So you need to be a clear vessel, devoid of all that influence in order to access your intuition, which then when you are in alignment with yourself, you'll do what you want, you'll do what you're meant to be doing. You'll find your purpose and your power, and you can move forward. And again, we do it all through doodling. So it's very strategic doodling that we'll be doing. And that second class is Saturday, July 29th, same time, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern. And for your own doodling practice, I'm including 2 reference guides. They're just PDFs you can download. And the first one is Doodling Prompts to Feel Better Fast. I've discussed some of it today, but you'll definitely get lots in there to help you along. And the second one is Pro Tips for Frame-Worthy Doodles. So what to do to start off correctly. I'll give you the first tip, which I didn't think of until much too late. The first one is take a ruler and use that to draw a border on your paper. So here's one that I've just started. And so make a very thin border with pencil. I don't know if you can see it. So basically I put the ruler there and drew a line all the way around so that if I want to frame this, there's room for the matting and the frame. So that's a tip that I wish somebody had shared with me. So anyway, I'll give you practical tips like that. And then I have 2 MP3s. One is called Stress Be Gone. It's just about 5.5 minutes. It's a guided visualization to relax you before making art or when you are worried, anxious, or upset, and you will be calmer and happier by the end. So take 5.5 minutes to do that for yourself every day. And the second MP3 is silent. That means I have infused it with energy, but I don't speak at all, and there's no music. And I call that Access Your Creative Genius. So it's an energy transmission to connect you to your inner self, and it'll give you a feeling of confidence that you are creative, that you have creative genius, and you can access it. Okay, if you haven't experienced a silent MP3 before, you'll be surprised. I will run my own, like I've put together many packages for different telesummits, and I always include 1 or 2 silent MP3s. So I often run my own silent MP3s in the background, and I know exactly when the next one has started because I feel the energy shift and I take a sharp inhale. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. And then I kind of watch what it inspires me to do, and I know which one I'm listening to. So they are effective, even for me. Like I'm not even immune to them, having made them. They do work. I focus very, very hard when I'm making them. So that's package A. So 2 classes, 2 PDFs, and 2 MP3s, and that's just $97. Thought I'd make it accessible. And then the second is offer number 2 that includes all that. Plus you get a 30-minute private energy healing session with me on Zoom, and that's $177. So on that call for your private healing session, we can address whatever you like. It doesn't have to be creativity, it doesn't have to be art therapy. It can be whatever. I specialize in clearing trauma. And or if you want to do EFT, the tapping, whatever you like. And then we do it on Zoom, and it's great. You'll like it. And so I see Lauren has generously offered a 2 payment plan. If you need that, you can take advantage of that. And there you go. Those are my offers. I hope you like them. I hope they resonate.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for those. We are excited because for you to say that you're not an artist, but yet you've got this beautiful artwork that you've created and healing from it. It is inspirational. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm sure that people would want to get close to you and work with you with 25 healing modalities that you've studied. That makes you an expert. So thank you. Yes. Thank you.
I'm an expert in blops and dots. No, what? Blops and dots. No. Dots and blobs. And trauma clearing.
10,000 hours at least. And so really beautiful. And just again, I want to say that out of the strife, out of the challenge, here's something so beautiful on our planet. You've made lemonade out of lemon.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
beautiful. All right, beautiful people. Thank you. Well, happy doodling. Happy doodling. Did you want to leave us with an exercise before we go, or
Sure. Let me see.
we can reveal what you're going to have me share?
Let me think here. Okay. How about something to boost self-esteem and body image? It's probably mostly women on this call, right? Okay. So first of all, to do that, I would use bright, vibrant colors, all my favorite colors. Line up your markers or pens and create a mandala. So a mandala is usually a circular image that has patterns in it. I actually just traced a mandala. And that was another thing. At first I thought, oh, I can't use stencils. That's cheating. Yeah, says who? So I started using stencils and I like them. So I did one. Oh my gosh, I swear it was right here. So if you do a mandala, so I ordered one online and I didn't realize it was so huge. It's too big to fit my paper, but I like it. So I used a black micron pen, like it's a marker that is very matte and it doesn't smudge ever. So I outlined, I traced the mandala and then I colored it in. So you can do a mandala with images that remind you of high self-esteem. So maybe it's when you got gold stars at your piano lesson. So you can start your mandala and maybe you've got gold stars around the outside. And then maybe, I don't know, your mom kissing you. Maybe you had a beautiful, loving mother. So you can draw lips as your next pattern. So just draw images that support you feeling good about your body, about yourself. That would be what I would have to offer for that. And just see how you feel. You can mix bold colors and pastel shades. That's okay. Do whatever you like. As long as you feel good while you're doing it, then it will translate to your subconscious mind. I would definitely do some sort of heart or whatever represents self-love to you. Okay. I hope that helps.
It is truly healing art.
Yes.
Healing art.
Yeah.
The arts. Beautiful. The power of us to go within and draw it out. We draw it out, literally drawing it out.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. Sophia, as we say goodbye, again, I just want to thank you for sharing your beautiful artwork and for inspiring all of us. I know that those who already have pencils or pens are going to be busy with that right away. Do you have any final thoughts as we say goodbye?
Okay, I'm going to accept the title of artist because we all have innate creativity. So I invite everyone to also accept the title of artist and find your creative genius. Maybe it's not doodling. Maybe you're a pastry chef or a graphic artist or a sculptor or a choreographer. Find some way to create art. I like I mentioned, I'm an actor as well, and I took a class that taught how to use your own stories to create a piece of theater. And there was a point where I thought, oh, this is so self-indulgent, making a play about me. It just seemed, a little much. And then I read a quote that totally gave me permission. It said, art is a form of prayer. I thought, oh, yes, art is a form of prayer. And so I say, doodling is divine.
Doodling is divine. I see a book in you, a book of doodles, a book of healing, this technique out for the world, art therapy for the world. And good on you, Miss Artist, says Dar.
Thank you.
Beautiful. All right, everyone. Well, we hope that you are inspired to be authentic and do it for New Earth, do it for your own healing, do it for your joy, do it for your passion, do it for relaxation, do it for less cortisol, right? Do it
Yes.
for your own health and well-being, no matter what it is. Personally, I have a baton. I spin a baton. That's
Ah,
what makes me joyous. And so
you're a
just,
majorette?
well, yeah, younger days, but I still have it. It makes me happy. And so I just share that because no matter what it is, I mean, I like if we bake cookies, right? We can bake cookies or planting, gardening, all of it is really beautiful. And this is New Earth. And so you are helping us find New Earth through our passions and doing what we love. And in your case, you doodle and you're doing a superb job at doodling.
Thank you so much. Well, the baton twirling is like doodling in the air. The
It is.
baton makes the lines. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does. Go doodle with my baton. That doesn't sound right. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Sophia Zoe. You have inspired us anew, and everyone will be inspired and go doodle, go do your love. Self-love is how we are, New Earth. Thank you all for being here. Sophia, thank you. We look forward to your webinars. And those who want to have a personal session with you, they can do that as well. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Sophia.
Thank you very much.
Namaste.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.